And one another topic with related to this one is that the thought and thinking. What is thought and what is thinking? Once somebody was affected by a problem. He was a government servant. Some meeting was going on, and the presiding officer was his superior officer. He was presiding over the meeting. During the meeting is on progress, the cell phone of the concerned person has ringed. After feeling the noise of the cell phone, he immediately switched off the phone. But anyhow, the presiding officer give him a punishment of transfer. How he can attend the meeting without put off the cell phone? So saying he is giving a punishment transfer. And the government servant felt very sorrowful. So the punishment is very too much, and it is out of range. It may be wrong, but it is really it is a mistake on the part of the government servant. He must have put the cell phone on silence mode or anything. But anyhow, he has not attended the call. He had immediately, whenever it has rang, he has immediately put off the cell phone, and he might have give a memo or anything, and he might have given an explanation, sought for an explanation. But instead of that, it is wrong for him to have the punishment transfer. So thinking like that, he suffered psychologically, and he has no sleep in the night, and he cannot eat well. He felt a tension in his mind, and he asked how to deal with the problem. So whenever he was tried to sleep, the thought goes on, and he immediately respond, I have to deal something, I have to do something upon the superior officer. How dare he was to deal with, give a punishment like this? He thinking like that. He wants some solution from me. So here I attended the problem. So we have to understand what is the difference between thought and thinking. So when we are affected by some good situation or bad situation, naturally the thought related to the situation comes repeatedly. That is natural. So if you are affected in a bad situation, so the concerned person was affected by the bad situation, so some related thought comes naturally. So when it comes naturally on its own, it is known as thought. But if he is riding upon the thought, and he want to do some harm to the other person or anything, if we ride upon the thoughts, we are making the thought into thinking. So the conscious attention, the conscious activities upon the thought or anything is known as thinking. So thinking is manual, and all thoughts it is automatic. It happens on its own. But thinking is in our hand. Thought is not in our hand, but it happens unconsciously. So when the situation is like this, naturally some thought will pop up on its own again and again. But when we begin to ride upon the thought, we have to do something, we have to do this thing or that thing, then we are giving strength to the thought. Otherwise, if you do not make the thought into thinking, all the thought will go away very soon from us. But whenever we convert the thought into thinking, it will not go away from us easily. It will acquire some strength, and it will give you some pressure and psychological stress, and we make the situation as a complicated one. So if, for example, if the person wants to set right the transfer order, will go to some court or some tribunal or anything, then you have to think. But here he is not having any decision to go to the court or any action, legal action against the order. But in that condition, there is no necessity to make the thought into thinking. So he is unnecessarily make the thought into thinking and get the position into a complicated one. So if you step away from the thinking, then everything will be all right. And there was a similar situation when I gone to Coimbatore, where a family of a doctor came to me. Their problem somewhat serious, but the solution was the same. Their problem is that they have only one son, and as a child of 1.5 years, the child has died. The doctor told me it is a great sorrow in our life, but anyhow I managed. But they came to me after 6 months after the death. Anyhow I managed, but my wife cannot get away from the sorrow. She has developed many psychological and physical problems out of the sorrow. What we have to do? Here also the problem is same, the solution is same, the thought and thinking. Because that is a great sorrow in a family. Naturally the thought will come like this. We cannot control. But whenever we ride upon the thought, it is good for ourselves, it is good for a parent to get the sorrow like this. If you develop any thinking like that, this or that, this way or that way, if you convert the thought into thinking, then it becomes strength. The strength will be acute. The strength will be more and more powerful. So here, when everything is in the form of thought, even though it is painful, it will leave away from us very soon. But whenever we convert the thought into thinking, it will get more powerful. And it will create more problem within ourselves, within the psychological and as well as in the physical manner. So, leaving everything in the thought form, not converting everything into the thinking, all thoughts will be pass away just as a passing cloud. Even though it may come repeatedly, soon it will go away. And if you want any question regarding to this, you may ask.